welcome. So we're gonna get going because I got a lot to go through. Uh, Carry on. Okay, so we're talking about the flood currents. I'm gonna try to map some thoughts. I took a bunch of images, as you can see, merged them together into a little group, and now I wanted to draw. Let's just. Let's just for funsies put that in there. Somewhere, sure. Okay. So before we do this, I was looking at this area, and it led me. Basically, let me. If you've been watching my videos, we gotta just jump in. Sorry, I know I'm taking a little moment because there's a lot going on in my head that I'm trying to like reason through as I go almost, and what I'm saying, but essentially there's a current going this way that we talked about before in a previous video that maybe I could pull that one up too. Open this one. So we're starting from this general thing. And at some point in this, I mentioned this current that's going around this way. And then we see it go this way, basically. It stops here, this path, which is being cut by a current that is wrapping around here. It stops here and then continues this way, which is related to a current coming out this way, cutting it across, or cutting across it. And we talked about phase 1 and phase 2, where the Indonesian archipelago was over opposite India. Indonesian India. But the landmass, the area initially was over here. Like when India was conjoined before the Earth expanded. Hopefully you know details of my research enough. I would go back if you are just seeing this video randomly, at least 5 videos probably, just for this topic. And, like 4, I don't know. Something, whenever I'm talking about this map, is really when it kind of started to get focused on this more. Okay. So I don't want to restate things too much. One of the conclusions was that a current was going over this way and continued up into this region. And that's what led me to want to do this, because I was like, huh. Like if we go like this, check this out. If we just start here and just follow this like actual terrain pattern over here, and then just kind of continue it over here And maybe continue it at least here, but then let's go back. And then here, something we'll get into. Just kind of go this way. This way. Including, like, this kind of shoved in pretty much. So just putting it along that path, though. This way. And then up here, though. Let's look at the map itself. There's some things going on that I'm going to get into. So it keeps going this way, and then seemingly goes around, like, basically at what ended up being, like, the North Pole area. And then going around this way. So if we followed around this way, and then back along this path, maybe in over there-ish, some kind of, or here, some kind of structure that I started to think through a bit. Let's go to my Twitter posts. I made some posts here. So this is what I initially was thinking about that led me to want to make this. Is here is coming in the current. So let's just put that there. That then goes around this way. Literally. But at a boundary that is generally here and around, like an inner boundary that it follows generally around here. So there's an inner boundary to this circle going generally around here is what I'm suggesting, which we've talked about in previous videos. And then an outer boundary going around here that then relates over here. And interestingly, as this outer boundary wraps around, it kind of like runs into Greenland, which moved away from North America, so maybe it went more smoothly over this way. It basically runs into this other eddy that was forming in Europe. Like the boundary here, generally down here, and boundary up here in this space, an eddy in the current that was generally here. So this current wraps around this boundary generally, like an outer boundary, around here, comes in, runs into the center of the eddy, and like deflects off it basically, and goes this way in part. So like in part causing a current. Also, if we look at it more like this, like right here, I've been thinking about this a little bit throughout the last few hours. A little bit. But I noticed this shape right here is kind of like a snakehead, which would suggest like a current flow in this direction. It gave me the impression there was a current flow going more this way. That was maybe going more just across that way at a previous time into what would have been, I guess, maybe here. Into here would have been yes. Australia was attached over here through Papua New Guinea. was, though, up here. Papua New Guinea, and then it turned over here. And Australia might have been, like, in line there. Essentially, we can even see, like, snaking ahead this way. So I'm thinking this current that went around this way continued this way, went up this way, and then when it reached this point, before the Earth expanded though, when the continents were much closer, but that point, it then continued overland though in this area, and this is where this comes into play. The north-south gravity alignment, which is here. So we see Bohai Bay, Yellow Sea here, Japan. So over here, notice where we're looking at though in a second. So over here, here's China, here's Taiwan, which is now having a crazy typhoon. I saw a video of, like, it ran up to it and then it deflected back. Let's see if we can see that. Taiwan typhoon. Not. It's gonna literally just roll down. Oh my god. And then it goes. What? Whoa. Holy shit, it's like a war that's coming to Taiwan. Precursor. That. Anyway, before we get distracted. Sorry about that, Taiwan. That sucks. Hope it works out. Shit. Shit, guys. It's going this way. So my thought is it kind of like runs into something and starts to bend off it like an elbow. Like it's going straight and then it starts to deflect off it in a way where it actually like rounds it and leads to a more like abrupt current going more so this way. That's then like especially propagating this way. Because in here it bends up, like bends at Japan pretty much to go up this way. Under the crust as well, or like cutting through the crust here, I guess. I'm not sure which sequence this opens. These currents are probably happening. I'm just thinking in the direction of the current flows. Like this is probably a part of the process. A current that's going across this way and bends off of resistance. Maybe even related to the motion of Hawaii. Which then goes up this way. Does it? Oh, so many questions. Let's just try to map these. I know in the past I've said different directions about things, but okay, so here's Yellow Sea, Bohai Bay. So what do we notice? This feature It looks, it looks pretty much like where this north-south gravity lineament generally is. I mean, based on this image, it's pretty much right there. Pretty much right there. Seems very related to this feature, the north-south gravity lineament, which is very related to the current wrapping around here. So I'm like, ooh, where is this thing? I believe it goes over this way, like right, like starts over here, I believe, and goes up this way, and then goes up that way. So like connects over and then goes over. And that's when I noticed there's a huge fan here that's missing a piece here, but like a fan around this spill center where the current flowed through here, like a huge fan, which gave me the impression that maybe the gravity lineament is more along this line, and then a current flow filled in this space with more material that then made this area not have the gravity lineament and everything over here to be at a like different gravity measurement anomalously that then leads to like this thing called the north-south gravity lineament. Early Mesozoic. So like while before the earth expanded, while the flood is happening pretty much, right? Mesozoic. I know. What do you mean, right? I was like, I mean, okay, early Mesozoic. Okay, yeah. 66 being, I wasn't sure what Mesozoic is because it's one of the broader ones. It's like, when is that exactly? Okay. This is when the Earth expands rapidly at 66 million, and leading into there, 140 or so, it's really starting. 252, the like first stage of expansion happens around the Permian, which I think has to do with the opening of the Tethys, which then is like a temporary Earth expansion. It could have stabilized in that form, but the energy was too much, so it went to another form, which is the current expansion, which seems to have been adequate. But yeah, I was thinking let's draw some currents, so we kind of got a more looping current over here. That's more just a loop. And I think I was generally like thinking about more an outer boundary like here. Oh my god. That then like kind of before it goes over that way. I don't know if that's too close. Maybe over like to that way. Essentially reaching over there at some point though around it, around India, where then there is this loop that has an inlet. This inlet region. And then a inner ring that goes over here, maybe around that thing, and then goes around the Himalayas, and then just kind of connect. I don't know, maybe it goes more that way. I don't know. But then an outer ring also here. that goes that way. And looks like in this region, like it's kind of missing, like dot dot dot, it goes through here. But then it picks up again here, like in another tier. So, like it's not there because we have a second eddy next to it. That's here. Like occupying this general space. Which then brings up another thing I posted in the Twitter post that I was bringing up. Is this. This is from this website. Arkansas Geological WordPress. What are Lyson Gang bands? I thought these pictures are incredible, so let's check them out. Like, whoa. Tube. Lyson Gang band resembling an iron pipe. Nature just makes tubes. It's like, we got current to flow, bro. We ain't got time for this. We trying to flow. We'll make the tube. But this, very much like this. Like if we especially take this red one and kind of give it an overall thing around, like around all of this to over here. Because essentially, coming off of North America, we have current going this way through here. Going that way, and through there, and through here, and under this way, up this way. And seemingly, what I'm getting at is part of the process was that it went back this way, and cycled in this larger cycle, where this current that was flowing off of Hudson Bay. And the red current, so then just the red current coming in here. And then this blue current really coming out here. Cutting it off though. Going this way, like in the process. Since we have the end result, the final process is this blue current cut off this red current. But that red current was feeding up here. It's almost like this, like Europe or Asia decayed to give birth to Southeast Asia, like out of the womb. Out of the womb, Southeast Asia. At least a good chunk of it. Okay, so the idea though is now maybe what I was wanting to do is kind of just put this on all of them. So like for example, now we said Hudson Bay is doing the Hudson Bay thing. Well, the Hudson Bay thing is coming out over here a little better, so we can do it over here a little better. Where it literally is coming out this way. And basically along here, along that general path. I believe, let me zoom in some. Totally couldn't see that. Like, possibly related to specifically this section where it goes that way. And then essentially going in here, though. Oops. This way. And some, I believe, also going in here across that area. Although, we do have a jet stream here coming out of this area, like out of that way, that cuts this way. So there's that aspect here. And then over here we just generally have an eddy, though. That's like this. And then around that, like before it separated more so. And then around here. And something of that nature, just generally there. Which is going this way. Leading to flow out here, though, essentially. So there's that going on. Let's see if we can kind of just pinpoint things going on that are in certain areas more able to be seen. Seems to be there was just a general eddy. Of that red current going that way. That then ran into this blue current. I'll just draw it all as red. Just basically going around here, though. Just around. I don't even know if I'm drawing it on it, but around. Good enough. Whatever. And then this went, though, specifically this way. Or let's not do that there, because that's like the point where it interacts with another current around this way. And then probably also here, although it might have like a counter current nucleus type section. I don't know. Hard to say in Antarctica. Certainly there are some maps. Maybe we could look at something like that, but that might be better than having the Google Maps of Antarctica. Then we've got, let's just do this fuchsia one. I would just like to fill up the space with eddies that I've identified. Something like that, maybe. With a general nucleus there. And then also down here is Greece. Kind of like the eddy of Greece on the side there. Okay, and then we've got that current coming in out of Hudson Bay that way. That deflects here and goes in there, into across there too, really. Possibly more so across Spain before the Strait of Gibraltar was formed. That might be later. Like something to do with the exhaust of all the floodwaters more so than just the flood process. Like this, once the earth expands, this current does not shove across here, so then instead back pressures go back. So it's the opposite, which would maybe lead to it exhausting through a path it can't go through here the way it came in. So instead it goes along basically a boundary over here and carves an outlet. So it probably did actually more so go just across Spain initially and not so much through there. But regardless, generally into the Mediterranean. But going like across there before, like this is stage 2 maybe, or even stage 3, like some other subsequent stage that needs to identify, because I think this is more like 30 million. Stage, what I was calling stage 2 would be more like 80 to 50 million, I'd imagine, is more so in that area. Anyway, sorry guys. Just let's keep going. What do you mean sorry? I don't know. It's fucking my life. People are so harsh. People are so harsh. Myself included, so what the fuck does it matter? Just get over it, bro. It's kind of distracting. Caring what people worrying about it. So then there's the other boundary that seems to go something, I forget what I drew over there, but whatever. But essentially going this way, running into this, deflecting, running into this, deflecting to go between them, and then going around, and possibly even going through here, rather than through Spain. That kind of makes sense to me. It makes sense. Probably. Which then, like, divided, but also led to currents going across here. Some of which got over here. Kind of shoved in, but then we're going into pressure probably. To then get kind of pushed back that way and like down and across this way generally. Okay, so we got that going on. Then down here we've got current that I probably should draw here. But since we got here, we can kind of start filling in more details. Maybe orange. I don't know. That's kind of orangey there. Let's see how it looks. Going across here. Oops, that's not very good. Let's zoom in. Really going across this boundary in that way. Generally a boundary there that maybe even goes more like around that way. Hard to say. Maybe generally around this way, though. Just thinking, is there a big eddy here? Maybe like that was like this kind of thing. Let's see. I don't think that South America would fit that very well. It would almost have to have like that, I guess. Probably not an eddy of that nature that I just drew. Okay, this is ridiculous. What is he doing? Just freaking erasing one at a time. It's out of control. In the past, I've generally drawn this as a cross current that just comes across here up in this area, and then also current going this way. So it probably is kind of just interacting in this area like that. Like going into another current going down this way. Let's just draw it as purple. Another current that I guess is probably this current. Alright, let's draw it as teal then. This current coming in this way, running into this current, going underneath it, literally underneath it, and then going into resistance though, and going back this way, and kind of doing something of that nature, where it shoves this over there in the process. And creates like parts of these boundaries. So then the part of the current is flowing down generally along this way, it seems, interacting with this an orange colored current passing through the blue and the teal. Blue and the teal. Oh, who knows, dude? It's just words. But generally, though, forming a like overall current on this that just etches though at these interactions there. Etches. Just like it did over here, but not to the point where it actually segmented the continents. So there's that going on. There's also an eddy, like, in this space. Like, generally here. That has a nucleus there. That's what they're probably going more directly into this this current and deflecting off it more so here, which is leading it like to a point where it deflects back where another current is and goes back around this way, which maybe at a later point leads to this. But a eddy here generally Um, okay, North America again. This will maybe... Seems good. Maybe... I'm pretty excited at how good this is coming out generally. Nucleus. But then path there, path there. So it's going around like that. But it's got an out current that way. And that deflects in across that way. Because the ocean is not yet open. So we'll deal with the ocean more, like, as we realize the currents that are there, and then see how they interact across time and how things happen, and then the ocean is opening in these currents, it seems. Okay, so then we got another eddy, which we can just draw here. Another one here. And another one. Over here. Then we've got some currents. So maybe I can... Some going down this way that this is running into. Something's coming across here, generally speaking, and going in here and going down this way. And running in along this way, all the way over here, and down this way, along this path, as well as kind of having a boundary here that it reaches into, but like beyond, like in here, kind of reaches in type thing. But especially, let's just leave that, I guess. Especially going this way of importance for the current. So there's a current coming in through that region. And then there's a counter current, though, going up through this region that basically pushes this boundary. So we got two currents interacting. This one passes this one and goes around it, goes down and goes this way. And then it wraps here in another eddy in this area that's got Chicxulub at its nucleus. Like over before it opened, before it unfolded open, it had Chicxulub more centered at Eddy's center, and then it unfolded it over. And then this current, though, also is going this way along like the eastern boundary of the Rockies, pretty much, where this green current is holding a western margin. And then it eddies here, but some of it goes out this way. Some of it goes out this way, which this current is going this way as well into this, so it's being caused to go back. Okay, and then out of this one is a current that's flowing in here into, like, along a path, basically an energetic path through here. An outflow is formed this way, some of which can't get into this eddy and deflects off it and goes up this way. Instead, let's keep this color and then kind of just wrap it around here. So then it's going into resistance here and bending pretty much, and then joining this current. These are joining each other and wrapping around here pretty much to form an eddy centered on what ultimately would end up being centered on Bermuda. And then this current keeps going where it basically enters into an area where this current coming across is running into this area, and current coming from up here that's going this way is going in over here. So this area has a current coming in from over here. This is flowing into this area, leading to basically this area being as it is. But this current runs into it and goes really like between it to go along this area, specifically right through here, and then over this way to then go along this channel. So really it goes like this, cuts through here, goes this way. While this other current off of Africa goes that way into South America, though, across here. Runs into resistance that we'll get to at here, where Hawaii was basically forming. Deflects around and ultimately goes back this way. I think, I'm not completely sure how simple it is over here. There's definitely like little things this way here, like things that suggest something generally in that direction, which then if we actually let's take these blue currents, and they're also like going out this way and running into other currents out here, though. So like generally going down this way, just at a different energy level, like kind of parallel to this one. which then leads to like a boundary over here, basically. Where it's running into current and deflecting it back. And those kind of like collide and go that way. I believe also there's like an exhaust that forms in the process out of this area because the pressure over here is so high it can't relieve that way, so it just, even underneath this eddy, forms an exhaust path that ends up being the Amazon because of the circumstances of pressure over here pushing water the other way. How did we do? 51 minutes. We've got pretty good coverage. I was thinking... Let's go back to this. So it was like this, where it's going in there, going over this way, but then at some point it switches. Basically, kind of like a... I don't know if I can find the videos, but there's instances, I don't know if it's called a lahar, like a rock slide video in river. I don't know. No, that's not what I'm... Basically, the point is, when the current flow like this goes down some channel of rocks, there's rocks flowing, just flowing down like a river. What happens is the rocks expand relative to one another. So that leads to their capacity to just stop motion. So like as they expand, get more spread out because they're flowing, then the front one isn't hit by ones behind it as much. So over time it leads to basically things building up in the front, which then leads to the front end of this flow stopping. And then behind it, pressure builds, and pressure builds, and pressure builds, and then it breaks through the resistance. It's kind of similar to that, in that the currents seem to have formed these eddies like this, like form something of this nature. But the thing is this area could not get through as easily. And it just built up pressure that way until it physically cut this current off by passing it. It got through the current and past it. Essentially, the pressure builds up and then it's able to get through this other current that's flowing this way, and then it can no longer flow this way. So it like shuts the current off. It turns it, it basically, it dominates. Instead of it joining this way, it joins this way with this current. Instead of the other current joining it, it joins the other current because the dominant current directs the flow of energy. And it's really as simple as that in some sense. Leading to then this area. Going through the chakra of the ammonite structure, through it this way, and continue. I can't draw this on top of this like that. Okay, that's fine. Where? Okay. But then goes through here. And so this is also cutting it off, and it may be more so that this current started to cut it off so that this one couldn't get through as easily, which built up pressure behind it, and then this one like cut through that current because it was being like held back and stagnated by this other current cutting through here. Which then leads to the landslide, seemingly, of stage 1 to stage 2, where stage 1 goes over to stage 2 of the process. Phase 1, phase 2, whatever. Or it moves over here because a current has actually cut across here. So where's that current coming from? Like, it's a pretty important current. Where is it coming from? If we look here, it's definitely kind of like an arc shape with this thing, almost like a mushroom or like a tree or something. So it kind of resembles an energy flow that is going that way, which is good. And then if we go over here, really we see here, if anything's going that direction, it seems to be like this. So my thought is there's current going this way from this eddy that's going around, that then ends up going this way. And then there's current going the other way off of this eddy, going up this way, off of the eddy right there, that way. While current going out of the eddy's nucleus goes this way, and out this way at that point, pretty much. Like, that's the point where it happened energetically, which then staggers it over because it's pushing that way. Whereas up here, it's not pushing. This is dominating up here. So my guess is this cuts here, like it's cutting here, but it really cut over here. Like down this way though, like when it was here, it just kept cutting to the point where it cut the earth apart, the crust, allowing for the continental landmass to physically move relative to one another and space to open between where ocean floor is formed. But current going that way, going up in here, going across, so basically off of Hudson Bay to off of the eddy here, going up and across and just going straight through. So at some point, the eddy at Hudson Bay seems to have sent a current across that way as well, while another current goes out this way, possibly runs into the eddy and bounces off, like this current going around Greenland runs into it and bounces off and goes that way, which maybe even participates in deflecting some of the current, like straightening it out this way. So it goes across more straight. This just looks too much like a current flow propagated into it. Just like, I mean, seems to have gone in here. Right up generally along there. It's basically straight line here, ignoring this portion, like along that straight portion. This, whatever's going on here, maybe some reason is related to that also. And some reason this area is in the current, I guess. Like the current is actually flowing across it, not like around it. Like right across here. Going up here though. Turning. This can be traced so much. Oh my god. It's... I feel like it's so close. It's like right there. Something that will be like, okay, this is done. Complete. It's probably, I'm just not thinking about it enough, honestly. I have lost my attention. The last like 4 months, I've not been very attentive to this. Makes me feel like I'm almost there, though. Like, wait. I don't care that much anymore? Nice. My knee feels better. Have some knee issues. Like, maybe things will turn around. Life. Okay, guys. I am tired. I didn't quite get all the way through, but I think we got a good coverage of it. Definitely there's stuff in the Pacific that would probably be good to go through. I'm just not sure how to approach it because I almost need to go like off of the continents and into the oceans once the expansion process is going. Like at some point the space opened up, so it like went in there, but that space wasn't always there. Okay, dudes. I'll see you next time. Peace out. Thanks for watching.